of Ready Row USA, and I'm here with Jeff Cronick of Community Rowing and Allie Abrams of JL Racing. She's going to be talking about some of a new jacket they have they've come on as a sponsor today, and we have some other really cool hacks and tips and tricks for you in our gadgets and gear segment, which we do frequently because it seems to be very popular. People like their gadgets. It's whatever helps your rowing, I guess. Anyway, Allie's here, and we do have some senior correspondents and some regular at-large correspondents out there who are not on today but have contributed. Mark Wilson of All American Rowing Camp and Ryan Worth of the Chattanooga Rowing Center are our regular correspondents. And we also hear frequently from Allison Polini at Carnegie Lake, Tara Morgan at Seize the Oar and Vashon, Reba Knickerbocker, who has a great blog called Bend the Blade, the famous and wonderful Veronica Platzers out in Boulder Community Rowing, and Jeff Cronick, who's here today. He will introduce himself. He's going to be racing in the head of the Charles, right, Jeff?
That's right.
Yeah. So we are, Ready Row USA is a podcast of the Rowing Chat Network, the international network of podcasts about rowing, Faster Masters, Strength Coach Roundtable, a lot of different ones. So if you go to rowing.chat, that's the URL, you can find all those and subscribe. We don't hit you with too many notifications, but when we go live, we do send out a notice to our subscribers, and then you'll be able to tune in. We'd love to have more people comment, so please send in questions and comments as well. And we appreciate our live viewers who are listening today on YouTube and Facebook. We are now streaming to 2 different destinations, and then the audio will be ported onto the podcast, your favorite podcast app. But first, we have a acknowledgement for our fabulous sponsors who make it possible, basically, for us to do this podcast and to bring you rowing news. The clever engineers at Oar Inspired make it easy for you to videotape your crew. Their brilliant design is a tripod with suction cup feet that mounts onto the stern or bow deck of your boat. And we have more information on that and a special deal at rowing.chat/sponsors. The other new product is pretty interesting one. Don't know if Jeff or Allie have used this, but it's the Randall Oar Foils. And if you've learned sculling, especially maybe sweeps too, you know that digging too deep is a common problem. And they've come up with an ingenious way to avoid this pesky problem by helping you keep your oar at the right level. It's a glue-on little, you can see it there, a little flap blade that goes on top of your oar, and it can increase your effectiveness. There's a lot of people have used it and really like what it does. So rowing.chat/sponsors. And now I'd like to bring on Allie to talk about JL Racing and introduce yourself and your rowing experience, and tell us what you're going to talk about today, Allie, if you would, please.
Yeah, thank you. So my background starts at the collegiate level. I started coxing at San Diego State and was a student athlete there, and then was a coach there for 10 years before moving out to UConn, and coached there for 4 years before starting at JL. I've been wearing JL for decades, so I was pretty familiar with the product before I started. But I've been with JL for a little over 2 years, and I'm now the sales manager. One thing that we have that's new and exciting is we just redesigned our regatta jacket. Really wanted a more casual jacket for athletes and coaches to wear at regattas and around the boathouse. So we designed this to be a full zip jacket. It's fully waterproof, made with our Hytrel fabric, and it's seam sealed. So the waterproof rating is very similar to what you would find in a Gore-Tex jacket. The jacket can be mesh lined or fleece lined. So those in the Northeast or Midwest and Pacific Northwest might appreciate the fleece lined option. It is more of a casual fit, and so you could layer underneath depending on what size you get, which is nice.
So it's called Hytrel. Hytrel is, so that's the Gore-Tex equivalent.
Yeah, so that's just the name of the fabric that we use. Gore-Tex has their fabric, and we use Hytrel. Hytrel fabric is the same fabric that we use on our sequel jackets and the back of our turtle shells. So it's been a common staple for JL for quite some time. We've seen a lot of successes with it, just keeping our rowers dry. And like I said, we wanted to develop this jacket so everyone has an option to be fully dry out and about wherever they're at.
So it has the allowance for motion, like upper, like around the shoulders and stuff. I know.
Yeah. And the sleeves are designed to be a little bit longer. So when you have your hands up, the cuff will still cover your wrist and offer protection there.
Does it have a thumb hook or no?
No thumb holes. It does have a Velcro clasp kind of latch around the cuff, so you can secure it to be a little bit snug around your wrist to help stay in place. You could wear it out on the water. It's set up that way, but since it is fully waterproof, it might not be as breathable as our jackets. And having the full zip on your torso, it might kind of ripple up a little bit just with the zipper being there. So you can do it. I know other athletes who have worn fully waterproof rain jackets out on the water, but it is designed to be more of a casual jacket to be worn around regattas and whatnot.
It's really sharp looking.
Yeah, we saw prototypes on some of our staff members, and it does look pretty sharp, and we're getting samples made now, so we have them in-house and can send them out and show customers what we have. It comes with 2 zippered hand pockets, which is nice to keep things secure, like tools and bow lights, stern lights. The Napoleon pocket is good to just put your phone into. It does fit the giant iPhones of today. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the jackets, older jackets, are there for smaller phones.
Yeah. So this one, I think this was before the iPhone 11 came out that we saw the prototype, but I know it fits a pretty large cell phone in there, which is nice. And then of course, credit cards and what have you. So yeah, it's got really nice features. The zipper on the Napoleon pocket that you see there is a waterproof zipper. All the other zippers are not waterproof, but they have the Hytrel flap cover to make sure that it's protected there. And then it has a
removable hood, I see.
Yep, which I think is nice. I always liked having a zip off hood. I don't really wear hoods very often, so I like being able to take it off fully and not have a hood get in the way of wearing a backpack or messenger bag or anything. But it is nice to attach if it was pretty rainy out, and then keep my head protected there.
Well, I did mention that JL Race or RR USA JL Racing is our episode hashtag. If you're watching, you'll see it on the screen. But if you use a hashtag on RR USA JL Racing, use it on social media, and we will stalk you. I mean that in the best of possible ways. But we'll go and search for that hashtag and give you a hopefully maybe a JL prize if you are the winner of our drawing. We'll have to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we can do that. One of these jackets, and that would be so cool to wear it around.
Yeah, we got a lot of options.
Yeah. Well, we have. We're going to move on to a few other. And Allie, if you want to stay on, I'd love to have you. If
I'm happy to stay on.
Other gadgets would be great. We have another jacket option, which Jeff likes, zip off sleeves. So this is to wear in the boat, right, Jeff?
Yeah, this is to wear in the boat. And I started using this jacket. I actually had it before I started rowing. My rowing history is that I started in 2015 as a sculler. I'd been a a runner and cyclist for many years, and then my joints aged out of running. So I was looking for another sport, and I had this from cycling. And when it came around to November and it started to get cold, but we were still rowing in doubles and quads, I was thinking, what can I do? What do I already have? I mean, after decades of being an athlete, you have an ever expanding closet full of outdoor gear.
I know, and for some reason, I can't bear to get rid of any of it. I don't know why. I can't wear all this stuff at the same time.
Right. So on one, cold, bitter, rainy day, I pulled this jacket out, and this might be a good way to stay comfortable while in the boat. It is made for cycling.
Oh, okay. So does it have pockets in the back?
It does have pockets in the back. It is made for cycling. So, so there might be a couple of, maybe one or two small drawbacks of that, which I'll talk about later. But the things I like about this jacket are, obviously the high vis aspect of it is fantastic. It is Gore-Tex, so it is waterproof and windproof, which I found to be even more important. I mean, you get wet from a splash, but on those bitter windy days, something that really blocks the wind.
Right?
It doesn't have a lining.
Oh, okay. So you could wear this under the JL jacket, I imagine, right, Ali? If it's more form-fitting.
Yeah, I think that would be a great layering option. And then when you're out in the water, you just take the regatta jacket off, and if you're heating up, you have that as a protective layer.
And I just wanted to remind people that we will have the links to all these products on our show notes. So so that's great, Jeff.
Yeah, so it's form-fitting enough so that you're not getting tangled up in your oars. It's casual fitting enough so that you can easily fit a long sleeve shirt plus a singlet underneath it. But really the best feature is the fact that the sleeves zip off.
Because there's nothing worse than binding when you're trying to take a stroke.
Right. And also from heating up because, so often you put on that, you get into the boat with a warm jacket, and then 5 minutes later, you're thinking, what can I do? Can I unzip it? Can I push up the sleeves?
And those are easy to zip off, or they I know sometimes one of my jackets, it's just, I think I'm going to go flip if I try and take it off.
No, they're very easy. They have, each sleeve has 2 zippers, and I think that's the key. So there's one that starts from here and goes to the bottom, and then the other one, you just reach around the back, and then you pull, and it's off.
Perfect.
And so not only do you get flexibility out of it, but it keeps you more cool. Nice. It keeps you cool instantly.
Well, it's 50 degrees here, and it's a high in Boston. So I don't know what it's like in Connecticut, Ali.
It's pretty same. Where we got those wind gusts from the nor'easter coming through last night, which is kind of precarious for anyone training out there. But it seems like that jacket, Jeff, is good for scullers. So you could just take one sleeve off while hanging onto your oars.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. That's the way that I do it. And maybe the best endorsement is that when I first started wearing it, and Veronica Platzer was coaching our doubles and quad session, she looked at it and said, "Nice jacket."
If Veronica says it's nice, she's like one of my favorite people. I just love her. I want to get her on the show and just do a whole show about what she thinks about stuff. She's great. So, let's go on to a couple other things. These are the standard. I have probably 6 pairs of these. I realized Nancy told me, our friend Nancy Diesner rows with us. She said, you're supposed to wash them out with warm soapy water after you wear them, and I never do. So they kind of a couple of pairs are deteriorating, but these are the coolest. And my hands now I've got calluses that they're pretty good, but in the beginning of the season, don't you think that's the best time?
that's when I wear them. I only wear them in the beginning of the season, or actually just recently due to travel, I had a 3-week rowing break. And so when I came back and went out my first day, I realized quickly that my hands had gotten unused to rowing.
No.
And
then like about an hour into the session, you're like, oh God, now I'm starting to think about my hands.
yeah, they were pretty shredded. And
Yeah.
so I'd much rather row barehanded. It feels a lot better. But what I like about these is that they allow callus to develop even when you're wearing them.
Right.
And
And
so,
it's by CrewStop. That's thecrewstop.com. And they're a great company too. I remember one time I ordered a pair and they didn't come. And so I called them up. He said, "Oh, I'll ship you another pair." And then I found the delivery in my garage. But, I just thought that was a really nice way of approaching business.
Yeah.
Just,
I like their service as well. And it's a good alternative to tape is what I also find. Like if I have something pretty nasty and I don't want to just tape and tape forever and have my hands all sticky at the end, I just throw these on, and that's that.
Well, and then a couple other things I found. Row Perfect, Rebecca Caro had a list of little hacks and tricks, and I love the really cheap ones, like like the tennis balls we put on the rigging, the oar locks, and here's another use for tennis ball, to load up your work, to gain strength and skill in a rowing boat, and you have a bungee or rope under the hull. Gives an easy way to create extra loading and you've probably seen this out on the Charles River, Jeff. I think Jebby Stone uses something like this once in a while, and it could be used for all ages of rowers and expertise levels. So, it's just a way to, I know when you're out there, you're working on your technique, might as well put some extra load on and get stronger. So.
Yeah, I actually used this hack when I was coaching, and the athletes at first hated it, but after a few days and weeks of training with it, they actually really appreciated that having extra resistance was helping build their strength and fitness and endurance. So it was an easy thing to implement to help boost training.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just, and I don't know, that's like a load strap, isn't it? Is that what?
Yeah.
So put it under, what part of the hull do you put it under?
I coached 8, so we put it right by the coxswain seat in the back. Okay. I've seen other coaches put it around 3 seat in an 8. But I think if you're out training in a single or double, you would want it just behind the stroke seats foot stretchers, really somewhere where any athlete could reach and take it off when you're ready to do sprint pieces or anything like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to try.
And our coaches have had us use a strap, but not with a tennis ball. So is this just like using the resistance training around the foot, in front of the foot stretchers, but then sliding a tennis ball onto it for more load?
Yes, I think so. So this goes in the water, and it does, provide another just resistance.
Yeah,
that's great.
One thing to note that if you're using a tennis ball, or I actually used kind of a pool noodle around a strap, it does kick up a bit of a wake, which is another reason to put it in the stern so no one's getting extra splash when you're out there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just something
to. You don't want anyone yelling at you. Hey. So yeah, and then I saw Jevy out there the other day too, with not the other day, but a few months ago, some kind of little bubble or string or something to indicate check, and that was another just absolutely no cost hack you can use to kind of work on your steadiness in the boat. So then here's a fun one. No slings, no problem. I found this Rebecca's rowing hacks thing. It's while someone's running to get this, I hope someone's running to get the slings for this boat. But
just getting good core strength in there too.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
right. Sort of like an advanced plank, isn't it?
Anyway, that's just a fun one. This is something that Mark Wilson of All American Rowing Camp has has been telling me about, and I guess this is in production now, John Ewans' span gauge. And we'll have the link to this in our show notes. But it's just, if you're like me and you can't ever remember like how to set your span, if you need to, this is a really cool device, and he'll probably come and demonstrate it in a future episode. But it's have you ever used this, Allie?
Yeah, it is really easy and helpful especially when you're rigging by yourself, and you can just set it, pull the span gauge out, and that will show you where the pin should be, and then you can leave it so you can focus on adjusting the pin and backstay and everything else without having to take the tape measure out and reset it every time.
Yeah, we had a rigging clinic with John Sisk at CRI, gave us a rigging clinic, and actually made a video of it, so it's on my YouTube channel. But
Nice.
every time I just probably need about 10 more before I understand rigging. But what did you think of that clinic, Jeff? Was that helpful for you?
I mean, coming from where I come from, I don't have my own boat. I row club boats.
Yeah.
I am relatively new to the sport, and so for me, rigging, if there's something lower than rigging 101, that's what I need. And, this was really good that way, because he started from the perspective of knowing almost nothing, gave plenty of opportunity for questions, and it was well over an hour of rigging. And so of course there's a lot that goes by you, but having your video is great because repetition obviously is the key to mastery. So it gave me a great base.
That's good.
I learned
that's on the Rowing.chat YouTube channel. So if you want to check that out, it's just kind of I guess I'm an advanced amateur videographer, but not totally professional, but it captures most of what he covered. But anyway, another thing I love is my Garmin Phoenix watch. I'm not showing it here, but it has rowing as one of the mini sports. So if you're into cross training, this is really great because it has golf, it has, I don't know, trail running, elliptical, and it has rowing. So you can do stroke rate. You can do pieces, you can do laps, and it's pretty great. Do you have any other watches or gadgets like this that you guys use?
No. When I was at UConn, we were trying to implement heart rate monitors, but nothing like the Garmin that would have stroke rate capabilities or anything like that.
Yeah, and this has a wrist heart rate monitor, which I understand is not as accurate as the strap, but I don't know. For my purposes, it's fine. I think
that's the key thing for most purposes. I think the wrist-based detector is suitable, but maybe the more advanced athletes want the heart rate or the chest strap.
Chest straps, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't used this yet, but there's a rower at CRI who, instead of using a stroke coach, has her phone in a waterproof case and uses an app called Crew Nerds that you may be familiar with. I wasn't, but
yeah, I don't know. My phone is. I just haven't made the trip to get the bracket that I need to.
Yeah, I ordered one. There are a couple of really inexpensive ones on Amazon that you can get, and it looked as if it did everything that the stroke coach did, but it also plotted course, which I really liked, and you could link it to maps and so forth, so you could get your racing line and so forth.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the Garmin does that too, but it's being a watch, it's just not that easy to use, It's you have to kind of navigate menus and things.
Yeah.
And so as we wrap up here, we went on longer, but we always do than we thought. But we do have forms on our show notes. There are links in the show notes for our club news. We'd love to hear from viewers and subscribers about your own rowing news, your events, regattas, accomplishments, if you won or did a personal best. And it's just like there's no bit of news that's too small. So we'd love to hear about that. And again, there's a nice little form you can use in the show notes, and as well as the gadgets and gear form. We always want to, discover new stuff and things that keep us kind of engaged and interested in our rowing. I mean, sometimes it's just fun to have a new gadget. I don't know. I'm a kind of a gadget freak. I'll try anything. And if you have a photo or a link, send that along and we can put it in our slideshow and share it with people. Again, our wonderful sponsors, Randall Oar Foils and Oar Inspired, are you can find their deals at rowing.chat/sponsors. And our actually, this is not the right hashtag, but let me put it on. JL Racing, RRUSA JL Racing. So use that on social media, and we will get a prize to you. If there seriously aren't that many people doing it, so you're kind of likely to win a prize if you try if you do it.
Excellent. Can I answer?
Yes, you can. There are no restrictions on who can enter, even if you've been on the show.
Fantastic.
As long as you listen for the hashtag, that's good. My company is Pierce Press. I'm actually working on a couple of coaching books. If you have any manuscript ideas, or if you're developing a manuscript, I'm looking for projects in the field of alternative education is kind of how I characterize it, but it's, coaching could be, if you have a new angle in coaching, that's great. That is appropriate. Mark Wilson is our senior correspondent. He has the All-American Rowing Camps. He's founded with Jim Dietz, the Olympic rower and coach and national team coach. He's recently retired from UMass Amherst, and he'll be down there with me this winter. I'm going to do their camp in DeLand, Florida. Our other senior correspondent is Ryan Worth. He's coach at UT Chattanooga. It's a club team, and he is also Lookout Rowing Club is at the Chattanooga Rowing Center as well, and he's involved in coaching there, and he'll be back next week. So our upcoming episodes, we're going to be previewing the Head of the Charles next week, and we're also going to be at the U.S. Rowing Convention. So we'll be look us up or drop us a line, and if you'd like to point out something that we should cover or an interview, we'd love to hear from you. So that's about it. Let me go back to JL's wonderful jacket, because we really appreciate you coming on, Allie, and telling us about this. I think it looks terrific.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, and we'll have the JL tent at HOCR for everyone to stop by and see all of our new gear and fun designs and everything. So we have a lot out there that is designed for the rowers to stay warm and dry and cool in the warmer temperatures. And
I'll be down doing some interviews there. I'm interviewing Jen Huffman. She's the granddaughter of Joe Rance of Boat in the Boat. Ozzy doing a new film documentary, so I'll look you up, and we'll meet in person. That'll be great. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we are wrapping up, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Ready Row USA. Thanks again.